Hey y'all. All right, so I made this wig in January and I want to make her longer and fuller. And I want to show y'all how I did it. So let's get into it. I like to do everything on a wig block, but you can also use a styrofoam head. Whichever one you use, make sure you tack your wig down with either T-pins or stick pins to keep it in place while you work. My goal is to make this wig longer, and to do that I need to remove the wefts from the back and then add the longer wefts. I prefer manicure scissors to cut the wefts. You can also use a seam ripper. I prefer the manicure scissors because they're smaller, they're sharp, they go under the thread. So will a seam ripper though, but I just like these better. I just have more control with these. And while you are cutting, whether you use a seam ripper or scissors, while removing the thread, place them on top of the tracks. You don't want it to touch your cap because you could possibly cut your cap and put a hole in it, and we don't want to do that. So try to keep your scissors or seam ripper on top of the track. And of course, remove that thread. So let me give y'all the rundown on why I am doing all of this to this wig. So I made this wig with only two bundles. I used a 16 at the bottom and then a 14 at the top. And in order for it to flow the way I wanted to without the bottom of it looking all thin, I had to trim down that 16. So now it's more like a 14. So to make the wig longer and fuller, I am going to add an 18-inch bundle and I'm going to double each row. And I ended up doing 3 rows. Now I'm just cutting off the rest of what I wanted to remove. And before we do anything else, we need to secure this end back to the wig cap. I'm going to need enough thread to tie this end off. So I'm just pulling the thread back. That way I can get about 3 inches of thread to tie a knot. And I knot it about 2 to 3 times just to be on the safe side, child. But we're still going to go over it with some needle and thread to make sure it goes nowhere. I like to use the C needles, not the jumbo, but the regular size, and nylon thread. If you're a newbie or if you prefer something bigger, you can use the regular thread for sew-ins. But again, my favorite is the nylon. And this is how I tie off the end of the thread. Let me show y'all again. I just loop the two ends around my finger around 3 to 4 times, pull it, and then just cut it. You may find it helpful to use some stick pins to hold that track in place like I'm doing here. Right here, I'm trying to show you where you want to start stitching. Just make sure you sew over the area that you ended with that thread. So where we tied our knot, you want to sew over that area. And I like to go over it at least twice, just to be on the safe side. Once I reach the end of the weft, I then start to sew back and I go about at least half an inch. I don't like to cut off the thread at the very end of the weft. So I go back half an inch to an inch. And now it is time for the fun part. Here is my 18-inch bundle I ordered from the same company. Listen, y'all, keep those nets. Those nets come in handy when you want to store your wig for a while. If you would like to inquire about having a custom wig made, or if you want to go ahead and start your order, I will leave the link to my website below. When you do the fold over method, if you don't like to cut your wefts, you don't have to pull it. Just simply fold it over and use some pins to hold it in place. That way you can stitch it down. After I gave her a much needed shampoo, I used some foaming lotion on top to mold that bang down, combed it out really good, and then I let her air dry. And she looks so much better already, nice and full and longer. I love it. I decided to hold off on adding any layers. I want to see how she looks on before I do anything with scissors or a razor. But for right now, we are going to add a few curls just to see how she looks. I like to work in sections and I like to start in the back. So I'm going to pin all the hair I don't need right now out of the way with some clips. I like to alternate the direction I curl in. So with that first one, I went to the right and now I'm going to start curling in the left. And I do that only in the back. When I get to the sides, I like for that hair to go towards the back. So when I'm curling the left, I curl to the left, and when I'm on the right, I curl to the right. If that makes any sense. Let me know if y'all want a video on how to curl your wigs or wash your wigs. I'll be more than happy to make one. So I'm curling that one to the right. This one went to the left, and this one will be going to the right. I like to comb out the curls with my fingers. I don't like to go in with the comb. But this hair holds a mean curl. I really like that. Would I recommend this hair? You know, if you just need some bundles, child, it's fine. I don't know how it would do if it was installed, but as far as wearing it as a wig and removing it at the end of the day, I love this hair. I would buy it again. If you found this video helpful, I would appreciate a thumbs up. If you have any questions, leave them below in the comments. I will be more than happy to answer. Let me know what y'all want to see next, and I will see y'all in the next one. Thanks for watching.